Hey y'all! For 50 days, Ryan Trahan and his wife Haley are going to the 50 states in America, and for each state that they go to, I am reading a book or featuring a book that takes place in that state. And today, Ryan and Haley went to Mississippi! I just finished the audiobook for my Mississippi book for this challenge. First Mississippi book that I have read as far as I know, and since I just finished it, we have a new state unlocked. I thought I would talk about how I found this book. Mississippi was one of the states that I had no idea what book I was going to read. I was pretty confident that I didn't have one in my library already, so I gave that state to my mom and was like, I need some help. She did her girl in the chair searching and investigating. The first book that she found for me was an audiobook, The River Queen by Stephenia H. McGee. I start listening to The River Queen, loving it, y'all. It's such a fun time. It takes place on the Mississippi River, and there's pirates, there's a couple that I think will end up together that's super fun. You have an Irish thespian family on said riverboat showboat thing that they're just so fun. And the guy is almost a grumpy, kind of like, you know, the grumpy sunshine trope, almost like that. And he's an accountant, and his brother is into like crime stuff, I think. And I was here for it. But about 2.5 hours in, I realized that they were in St. Louis, Missouri, I think, or near there, on the Mississippi River, and not actually in Mississippi. And while the story was leading towards the possibility of them going down to New Orleans and maybe stopping in Mississippi, I wasn't sure. There was about 7 hours left on the book, and I just didn't want to risk listening to 7 hours and finding out that it didn't actually happen in Mississippi. So I paused it and I was like, oh, Ma, I need a different book. And she found one that's by the same author called The Cedar Key. That one was a bit longer of a book, but I went ahead and started listening to it because the synopsis made it very obvious that it did indeed happen in Mississippi. I start listening to that one, and that is the book that I finished for Mississippi. Now, for the author's name, at the very end when it was going over like acknowledgments and the end credit stuff for the book on Audible, well, it was on Hoopla, the narrator lady pronounced the author's name Stephenia H. McGee, something like that. So I don't know how to pronounce the name. Of the two books, The River Queen and The Cedar Key, The River Queen definitely hooked me more. The characters were my speed. I love the theater. I love being really loud and boisterous. I don't know if you guys have watched enough videos of mine to put that together. I was really bummed when I had to pause The River Queen, and then surprised when I started listening to The Cedar Key that it was such a different story. And I saw one review on Goodreads say that The Cedar Key is quite a bit different than Stephenia's other books. These are the only two books of hers that I have tried out. I didn't even get to finish River Queen yet, so I can't quite say, but they are definitely very different books. I cannot wait to finish The River Queen when this challenge is over. Really looking forward to that. But enough of The River Queen. We'll stay on topic with The Cedar Key, which is the book for today for Mississippi. Now, what it's about, not giving spoilers, I'll try to keep it to like the regular synopsis, right? So Casey is the main character, and she was adopted. She finds out that her biological grandmother on her father's side, like, discovered her existence. It's like the grandma, Ida is her name. Ida was like, oh, I have a granddaughter I never knew about. And so they get in contact with each other, but pretty much right after they finally meet and have some conversations, Ida dies of cancer. So yes, the cancer thing is a lot in this book. But right before Ida dies, she writes up a bunch of letters and asks her younger guy neighbor to basically give the letters to Casey periodically or in a certain time, like one by one. It felt kind of like an escape room sort of, which was fun. And the letters basically allow Casey to learn about her family's history because she was adopted. She didn't really know anything about her birth parents and all that stuff. So it allows Casey to get to know her grandma more and her family more and go on a journey of healing, because with her being adopted and various other things that happened in her life, she had a lot to heal from. And of course we have this like a small town, so Casey gets to befriend the younger neighbor guy and his mom and other people in town, and quilts are involved. I'll say this book I think my grandma would love because of the quilting, and it's definitely like a slow pace book, and with the faith elements, the learning and the growing kind of thing. I don't know how to explain, I have a feeling that my grandma would really, really like this book. And I would say that's probably one of my favorite things about the book is seeing Casey's growth. You want to talk about character growth. You definitely see Casey heal and learn various things and grow in her faith. That was pretty nice to see. It's definitely a pretty slow-paced book. Gotta be honest, I didn't get like hooked until I think chapter 21. I know that's like really, really out there. It sounds kind of bad. I was enjoying it. I just wasn't like, oh, you know, like River Queen had me on chapter 1, all right? And other books that I don't know if, you know, it has like a widow or a widower or a boisterous character or high stakes or fantasy elements or old time things. I don't know. It just, the Cedar Key didn't have that thing that just really got me personally, but I did really enjoy the book and I would recommend it, especially if the whole premise is something that you would enjoy. It also kind of reminded me of some dual timeline type books, which are not my thing. There was a dual timeline book I read last year that I think I DNF'd at like 50% just because I couldn't stay with it. There's something about dual timelines that I just get bored, honestly. But I stayed with this one, and as I mentioned, by like chapter 21, I did actually get that hook, and I did really want to genuinely like keep reading it. Had that almost a hard time hitting pause. You could say that, like instead of it was hard putting the book down, it was hard hitting pause, and I really wanted to know what was going to happen next on Casey's journey, especially when there was some mystery that showed up there towards the end, and there was some wit that started happening towards the end, which had me chuckle a couple times. It also reminded me quite a bit of Under the Magnolias by T.I. Lowe. The covers actually even look pretty similar, and they both happen in the South. I will say though, Under the Magnolias had more humor and more trauma. That book was had some hard stuff to read. I loved the book. It was great, but it's definitely not the like slow-paced, chill kind of book that this one is. Even though they had some similar vibes in my opinion, both being in the South, Magnolias even being mentioned, family problems, the faith elements, like all that was the same, but level of humor and trauma was definitely different. I also thought it was interesting that the Cedar Key itself, like the actual key that you can see on the cover, didn't really show up in the book for a really long time. I won't say when, and I won't spoil it that much, but at some point listening to it, I was like, wait a minute. This is called the Cedar Key. Where's the key? Like we're a bit into the book at this point, and I completely forgot. But it's really pretty cool because at the very end, the author's note talked a little bit about the significance of the Cedar Key, which gave me more appreciation, I think, for it. I mean, when it finally showed up, I was like, okay, there it is. That makes more sense now. I get it. But I was still kind of like, why did we name the book that when it didn't really show up until all the way at the end? And then the author's note, I was like, okay, that's nice. I liked it. This was just a fun thing. So when I read books, I often think of other people or characters if they share the same name of the characters in the book. There's like one time a couple years ago, I was reading 3 books at one time that had a Luke character in it, which was wild. But what was crazy about this one, y'all, is there was a Ryan and there was, yes, a Haley in this book, okay? How crazy, because I'm doing this challenge because Ryan and Haley are going to the 50 states, that there's a Ryan and Haley in this book. Now, the Ryan and Haley in this book are nothing like Ryan Trahan and Haley Pham. They're very, very different. Ryan was the cute guy next door who was like a youth pastor. Young guy. I think he actually might have been in his 30s or 40s. Young compared to Ida and Nancy. And then Haley was, I'll just say she's not like Haley Pham, nor was she married to Ryan. I'm just gonna put that out there. I did just think it was crazy that there was a Ryan and Haley in this book. I don't think I've had that happen before. I have read of other Ryan characters. Actually can't think of other Haley characters now that I think about it. But then other character names in this one. One of the church ladies in the town was named Lucy Preston. And I was like, wait a minute, isn't that the name, like the full name of the character in the Timeless TV show? And I looked on IMDb, I was right. Lucy Preston is the main character of the Timeless TV show, which I like. That was wild, the full name being the same. And then Ryan's mom's name was Nancy. Obviously made me think of Nancy Drew. At that point, I was trying to think, does everyone in this book have a name that reminds me of another person or character? And the fast answer is no, because Ida and Myra Ann were 2 that I've got nothing for. Almost have something with Ida, not really. So when I was going through all the names, I got to Casey and I was like, I mean, Casey Jones from TMNT, I guess, but he's a guy. And then I was like, well, Casey's real name is Cassandra. I know of one Cassandra. It's nothing like this Casey. Oh yeah, and Casey had a pet cat that she was struggling with naming for pretty much the entire book. And towards the end, when I was like, oh, all these names making me think of different people and there being a Ryan and a Haley, it would have been awesome if the cat was a guy cat, like it was a girl cat. But if it was a boy cat, then she could have named it Spock. Oh, that would have been awesome if that could have worked out. Alas, the cat was a girl and they ended up naming it something that was sort of a spoiler. So I won't let you guys know what the cat was named, but it wasn't named Spock. So this was the first book of the South that we have gotten to this far that had the bless your heart in it. It happened multiple times and I just kept thinking of Kim and Penn Holderness's video, which is so accurate. And pretty much every time the bless your heart happened in this book, it was definitely an insult. And I was like, oh, what'd you go and insult your girl Casey for like that? Woo-hoo-hoo. There were some insults in there with that bless your heart. Gotta look out. My rating for Cedar Key, I think I'm gonna go 4 stars on this one. As I said, there's just not a lot of tropes that really grabbed me, but I did really end up liking it and all of the faith and lessons that were woven through it. It was a nice time, so I'm gonna go 4 stars on it. And cannot wait to finish The River Queen and check out the other books by this author. Reading strategy. All right, they are in Mississippi. So the 2 surrounding states, the possibilities are Tennessee and Alabama. Tennessee is covered. So tonight I am hoping to start The Story of My Life by Helen Keller. I recently got this book at a thrift store just a couple weeks ago. And I cannot wait to start this. When I asked my mom to find an Alabama book for me because I wanted a shorter book than Hometown Legend by Jerry B. Jenkins. It does happen in Alabama, but it's like 330 pages. I just wanted a shorter book. My mom discovered that Helen Keller actually lived in Alabama. So I was like, what? Absolutely want to read that one for the Alabama book. So I'm gonna start this one up tonight. It's about 150 pages. The font looks like a decent size, but 150 pages shouldn't be too bad. I mean, I want to save all of the talking for this book for tomorrow, but when I was just flipping through, I saw they have a little braille chart at the start, and I think that is just so cool. Little sneak peek. Unless they go to Tennessee tomorrow, then y'all are gonna have to wait a bit for this one. And I believe that is all for this video. Let me know in the comments if you guys are watching Ryan's series and which Airbnb is your favorite so far. Let me know what you're currently reading. I would love to talk book stuff in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao!